You have every right to feel anger when other people have harmed you in the workplace. So, this is for Black women in toxic jobs. This is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist, and I am focusing on helping as many Black women as I can to leave and heal from toxic jobs. So, I wanted to talk about the issue of anger because as Black women, we have also been told that or we know we've experienced that there's a stereotype about the angry Black woman. So when we're in the workplace, we are often very mindful of not, reinforcing that stereotype. So we are very mindful of how we're presenting. We're very mindful of our tone of voice, how we interact with others, even the tone not only of our voice but also of our emails. So it might be very difficult for us to um, wrap our heads around, anger in relation to the workplace because work so hard to, and I would even say mask when we are experiencing harm in the workplace. We work really hard so that other people don't see us in terms of hurting or that they don't see that they are harming us in some kind of way. So I wanted to talk about this because I wanted to validate the anger. And not that we express the anger, have a full on moment in the workplace. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, how do we find spaces where we are able to connect to the anger because that's healthy? You are connecting to yourself and you're paying attention to how you are feeling. You're not lying to yourself, like, oh, that didn't bother me. Now, you might present that in the workplace, which might be healthy because people might be trying to attack you and try to take you down. So you don't want to let them see that. But when you're not in the workplace, how are you connecting to yourself about maybe the harm that you've experienced in relation to the workplace? So again, it's very healthy to connect to that, not in the workplace. So as you are in a place where you feel comfortable connecting to yourself and connecting to how you really feel. I wanted to talk about this because I just saw a really, really, really good video by Alicia Renice, the artist, and I'm going to put her video in the description section. But the video, it was a healing vlog, and the title was "I'm Angry About the Pain They Caused Me." So please check out this video. But it really, as I watched the video, it brought up a lot of different thoughts for me in terms of ways I related to it. But I wanted to talk about it more specifically in relation to Black women in toxic jobs. And also, as I share this information with you, I'm sharing it from, opportunity for you to reflect, but also I'm going to talk about ways that I have also processed my anger in relation to these different things too, just so you can see what this looks like. Okay. So I'm doing this. And as I've been on my healing journey in relation to a toxic job, I have been working on ways to rechannel the rage that I experienced at that job because of the pain that was done to me in ways that I was harmed. Again, so recognize that we are harmed. And when you are harmed, you have every right to experience anger. So let us not discount that. You have every right. I want to validate. You have every right to feel anger when other people have harmed you, have done something to cause you pain. But now we're thinking about, okay, how do we go through the process of releasing that anger? Because underneath the anger is hurt, is pain, is sadness. So, how do we connect to that so we can start the healing process of releasing the anger? And part of releasing the anger is, again, connecting to the pain. So, I'm going to walk you through an exercise that may be helpful for you in terms of connecting to that anger and allowing yourself to reflect on the anger so that you're able to access the pain, the hurt that's underneath that. Okay. So this might be like an initial exercise that you can do. And I also invite you as you're doing this exercise, and you may want to like pause the video or go back and look at the video as you're able to or rewatch the video if you need to like write down the different prompts that I'm giving. Okay. So again, I invite you to think about the different questions I'm asking you, self reflect or journal. on these different things. Again, so we're talking about ways to connect to the anger so that you can get to the underlying pain and hurt, like the root cause, right? So we're trying to unearth the root cause so you're able to release it. So as you're engaging in this exercise, it may be helpful for you to listen to one of my favorite songs. I use it a lot in my therapy work. It's called I Release by Beautiful Chorus. And I will put that information in the description section of this video. But I Release talks about, I'm releasing things that no longer work for me, things that don't serve me. So the anger and the way it is now, so it's still sitting there. The anger you might be experiencing about the job might just be sitting there like festering, right? And when things fester, it comes out in other ways. So I am talking to you about rechanneling that. So how do you rechannel that? One way to rechannel that is not only to self reflect, sit with yourself and self reflect and be honest with yourself. Be honest about how the job is impacting you. Be honest about if you are experiencing anger in relation to the harm that you've experienced. Be honest about that to yourself. Now, this exercise might encourage self reflection, but you might recognize in this exercise that it might be helpful for you to further explore these issues or further address these issues in therapy. Because what can happen a lot of times in toxic jobs is that the pain can remind you of other pain that you've experienced other times in your life. So it might remind you of other traumas that you've experienced in your life. And the job may, in some ways, be parallel to those other traumas you've experienced in your life. If you recognize that that is happening for you, then it's strongly suggested that you seek therapy for this, okay? So, as you are engaging in this exercise, again, I invite you to listen to or have I Release playing by Beautiful Chorus. And you can pause this video periodically to just reflect on, journal on these prompts. You might even find it helpful to bring this into your therapy session and to share with your therapist, if you already have a therapist, or if you're about to get a therapist, about your responses and ways that certain issues were brought up for you. So my clients, they already know this, that, they come up with like a list of things that they want to talk to me about. So over the course of the week, what was brought up for them, and they have a list and they bring it to session and we go through that list. So this might be helpful for you as you are in your therapy work, okay? So again, so we're thinking about these questions, we're self-reflecting. I have notes. So periodically, I'm going to be looking down at my notes. I usually don't have notes, but periodically I do. So I'm going to be looking at my notes. So, one, I invite you to think about what is that toxic job robbing you of? What is that toxic job robbing you of? So, again, I'm going to present the question. You can pause the video now or write it down. And I'm also going to share with you for each of these questions how this question resonates with me too. Okay. So the toxic job, and this is something I was angry about, the toxic job robbed me of the work that I was doing. So I believed in the work that I was doing. I believed in the potential of the work that I was doing based upon feedback that I received from others. Very positive job evaluations. I never had a negative job evaluation. So I was robbed of the potential of doing so much more. So that makes me angry. And that I was robbed of um, the ability to continue to collaborate with people in the school district, because I work for a school district. I was robbed of the ability to collaborate and share information in a way that would help more children, particularly Black children. I was robbed of that. I was also robbed of when I was demoted for no good reason except for my job, so called, was no longer a full time job, which is ridiculous because I was doing up and above what my job duties were, helping other people out, creating new things. Okay, so that was all ridiculous. We all know it was just ridiculous. They were trying to put me in my place. So I'm angry because when they demoted me back to my entry level position, in which I was a therapist at a clinic, um, because of that experience, I was even robbed of my love for doing therapy. So I started to despise the work that I was doing. And even though I went to graduate school and did all these different things to become a therapist, and I believed in therapy, I was starting to despise the work. So it robbed me of that. However, when I took a leave of absence and I started doing therapy in terms of my own private practice, I reconnected to the joy of being a therapist. So it almost robbed me of something that I believed in, something that I had gone to school for, all those different things. It almost robbed me of that, my dreams. But no, I took my power back. Okay, so that's number one. What is that toxic job robbing you of? Number two, what anger do you need to release of yourself in relation to the toxic job? Again, what anger do you need to release of yourself in that situation at the toxic job? So, again, I'm going to share an example for me in terms of how this looked for me in terms of my healing journey. So, I had to release the anger that I had towards myself of being there for as long as I did and trying to fight in a system that was rigged. I released the anger within myself of believing that certain people were going to help me. I released the anger of, and this is kind of tricky, right? And you'll see. I released my anger of allowing certain people who clearly did not respect me, did not value me, who were out to get me. I released the anger of allowing these people to have that much control over my professional life, which spilled over to my personal life. Okay. So I have to practice self-forgiveness with that. And let me just share that in terms of the self-forgiveness part and why I said the last one was a little tricky, is that I didn't like consciously say it's okay to treat me like this. However, that's part of the understanding that you need to have with yourself is that you are doing the best that you can in that situation. So if you are in a work environment where you're being attacked, disrespected, demoralized, all these other things, it's not like you're saying, "Oh, just keep doing this to me." Many times we're doing this because we feel like we needed to stay there for whatever reason. So we needed to pay our bills, we needed all these other things. So it's not like you said, "Okay, I'm good with this," but there were reasons why you stayed. So connect to what were the reasons that you stayed in that moment and let us not beat ourselves up that you allowed for this stuff to happen because you didn't. You didn't allow for this to happen. It did happen because of some deeply insecure people. Okay. The next one is number three. What anger are you experiencing about how a person and or people did not stand up for or protect you? So for me, I started playing this mind game with myself, and I'm gonna do a video about this. I started doing this mind game with myself that by me continuing to fight and speak up and advocate for Black children and all these other things, I believed that other people were going to stand with me, and they did not. They did not. And I had to release my anger towards them because the more I thought about it, and when I talk about these systems, the systems are toxic, the people may want to support you or they might support you in private, but they are, and many times, stuck by fear as well because they have seen what has happened to people, particularly other Black people, who have dared to speak up about situations, who have dared to, say something wasn't quite right in the system. So they've seen that and they may be stuck by fear. So again, they may want to help you, but they may be scared to because they're fearful of their jobs because they're thinking about what's going in their lives. That's one thing. Another thing, some people may say that they support you in private, but they are engaging in other behaviors to so-called protect their job or to try to promote or do other things. So they might do some kind of shady things, like throw you under the bus or do things to try to dim your light so they can look brighter, so they can get a promotion or do other things. So you may have those experiences too. So if you have those experiences, I just say, let us release that because, let's shift our attention and our energy away from those things. It takes away from what your next steps are in terms of where we're going to focus your energy in terms of what you need to do next. So let us not spend all this time thinking about what somebody did to you or how they didn't stand up for you or how they didn't protect you. This is just data for you to know that those are certain people that you cannot trust. So if they've already shown you who they really are, as Dr. Maya Angelou says, when somebody shows you the first time, they show you who they are, believe them. So believe them. If they've shown you something that they were not there to protect you, or you may have seen other situations in which they have done kind of shady things to other people, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, okay? So let us not spend all this time, but it does provoke anger, right? So what I'm saying is allow yourself to process that anger of how a person and or other people did not stand up for you or did not protect you. There might be multiple reasons why they did not, and it's not really beneficial or conducive for you. You're healing to try to figure out why that was, okay? The last thing I want to say is, in what way are you experiencing anger for other people or a person or people getting away with causing you harm or causing you pain? So are you feeling like, how is it that this person or these people can get away with this? This is not right. And you might get stuck in that. And I know I did too. And I kept thinking that, and again, misdirected energy. So I'm thinking, you know what? This is crazy how these people keep getting away with this stuff. I'm gonna call them out. I'm gonna do this. I have documentation. I have all these other things. But what I didn't recognize, and what you may not recognize, is a system is set up against you. So they're going to, as opposed to listening to and supporting you, more than likely they are going to see you as the problem. And it's like it focuses the energy on you as opposed to the people or the person who has caused you harm. Now you're the problem, okay? So the system is trying to figure out how to deal with you, and it's usually not in a positive way. So when you're thinking that, like, you're right. This people should not get allowed with doing this. And I've talked before about why this might be that people engage in negative behaviors. I mean, at the core issue, we know that these are deeply insecure people. So deeply insecure people do things because they are not confident in their own abilities. So they are trying to pull you down or deflect attention or project their own incompetence on you. So when you recognize what's happening, yes, you might experience the anger, but I invite you to do this because it's something I had to do too, because I could not figure out. And again, I'm sharing with you about how this relates to me. I could not figure out how this workplace bully, who had a history of bullying other people, not only Black people, across the board, she had a history of bullying other people. There was a lawsuit against her in relation to another Black woman, and I have this Black woman on my YouTube channel. One of her I interviewed her, and she had a history of this. How was she getting away with this, and how was she getting promoted? I mean, it made no sense. And again, how could someone who could so-called be advocating for mental health and wellness be harming so many people and be allowed to stay and allowed to continue to cause harm to people and get promoted? Doesn't make sense. So again, I spent some time trying to figure out why this doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But the more people I've talked to, the more guests I've had, particularly those who have been in HR, I have come to learn that you may not know what types of relationships that this person or these people have with each other. They can know each other in a very different way. I don't need to go into detail about what that might be, but they can have very different relationships with these people. And so they're going to align with that person or those people over you. So what I've had to learn is I've had to release that anger about how is this person who has harmed so many people not only stay at the job but get promoted? I had to release that. And I had to release it because I know that karma is real. I know it. I've seen it. I know that karma is real. So I invite you when you are stuck in this pattern of how can I do this? This is not right. I don't, and when you do that, just pause and know that karma is going to come get them. They cannot continue to live and function like this. They cannot. Okay. So karma will come get them. Just know that. Just have peace in knowing that. Okay. So again, I want to share this exercise with you as a way for you to, again, connect to the anger that you have every right to experience. You have every right to experience anger, rage when people have harmed you. So when you've experienced pain in the workplace, you have every right to feel it. So I'm also saying that we don't want to just go out and just, express our anger, all the time in the workplace. What I'm saying is that I invite you to find a safe place where you are able to pause, pay attention to yourself, ask yourself honestly these questions, write your answers down. So you can either write it on a sheet of paper, whatever, on your phone, and then just think about, okay, so what else do I need to do to release this anger? Because again, underneath the anger, as you go through this exercise, you will probably notice that underneath the anger is pain, is heartbreak, is sadness. And in relation to you healing from that, it may be beneficial to seek therapy to address the underlying pain and hurt that you've experienced, particularly if the pain and hurt you've experienced reminds you of other pain and hurt in other areas of your life. Okay. So I wanted to again come on and say again to Alicia Renese, I love that video. Thank you so much for all the work you do. I love your work. And particularly this video you did. I think that it's going to be very helpful and healing for a lot of people to connect to the anger, but underneath the anger, the pain and the sadness, the heartbreak underneath that. So I'm signing off. So as you are listening to this video, watching this video, again, you may pause it at different parts to reflect on these questions. I ask you to please give this video a thumbs up. Also share this video with at least one other Black woman, but hopefully multiple women, Black women, so that we know that our experiences in toxic jobs are not, there's not something wrong with you, more than likely. It's the system is toxic. And so we are trying to find ways to connect to and recognize that the harm that the job is causing us, that's the first step. The first step is the awareness. Okay. So you are taking a huge first step by even watching this video. And my hope is that all of my videos provide an opportunity for you to self reflect. I'm not here to convince anybody, an opportunity for you to self reflect in terms of how you are feeling and what is the life that you want for yourself. So if this is not the life you want, if this toxic job is not the life you want for yourself, I invite you to start thinking about exit planning. I talk about that throughout my videos. I never tell a Black woman to just up and leave, like just leave that job. I never say that unless you're in immediate danger to yourself, physically, psychologically. Okay. But otherwise, I talk to Black women about coming up with a plan. Try to find another job if you want to do that. Maybe create your own business, how you could go about doing that, and the supports that you might need in terms of resources. So please access the resources. So as I'm signing off, remember, I'm here, I'm channeling my inner Harriet to help as many Black women as I can to leave and heal from toxic jobs. I'm also hoping to support you accessing your own inner Harriet so that you can leave and heal. And I'm asking you, as Harriet did, reach out to as many Black women as you can to help them also leave and heal from a toxic job. So, again, give this video a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know to suggest this video to other Black women in similar situations. Also, subscribe to this channel, Lifting as We Climb Consulting Wellness Services, and access the resources in the description section so that you can help yourself and help other Black women. Okay? Okay, so I'm signing off. So have a good rest of your day. Take care.